If your small business is booming, you might say,
Cha-ching!
but you should say,
like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
And we'll help your growing business. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
At Walgreens, we know flu season can feel a little chaotic. So we're going to give you our flu info
in a meditation, keeping you calm, just like a certified Walgreens pharmacist will do if you're a little nervous. So walk in or schedule an appointment, and Walgreens will handle the rest.
That's the human kind of help. Walgreens.
Vaccine subject to availability. State, age, and health-related restrictions may apply.
Welcome to the Backpacking Delicious podcast, brought to you by Enlightened Equipment, the quote that helped get my pack down to 18 pounds on our most recent trip. Check them out at enlighteningequipment.com. With me today is a man who is one of the most influential people in backpacking gear, Lloyd Vogel. How's it going today, my friend?
It's going well. Wow, yeah, that's how I self-identify too, you know.
Yeah, the most important. You're like, I'm the most important.
No, thanks. That's sweet. I didn't know the pod was sponsored by EE too. That's awesome.
We can talk about this if you want to, because it's the same deal that I offered Garage Grown Gear, which was to be the flagship. We had this conversation, and you're like,
a couple years ago,
this is not a great time. So thanks, but no thanks. So yeah, I'm throwing it right back in your face.
That's great. Well, we love Enlightened Equipment. You know, another Minnesota-based outdoor brand. They're just 2 hours south of us in Winona.
Yeah,
I used to work down there back in the day.
Okay.
So lots of close connections with those folks. We love their
great
quilts. They're awesome.
Yeah, they're great. You guys are great too. We support both companies. We mentioned Garage Grown Gear actually quite a bit on our show. It actually comes up quite a bit. So
Honored.
All right. So, and if you don't know, Lloyd is you're the CEO? Is that how you say it?
I am. Yep. I'm the CEO and co-founder. Yeah, that's my title. I don't really know. Yeah, I mean, historically, like when you're a one-person operation, the idea of being a CEO is like a totally, it doesn't matter. Like I used to joke that I was the chief everything officer because I just had to do everything.
Right.
But recently, yeah, it's starting to be like a little bit more of an actual title and term that holds some like weight and responsibility over my roles and responsibilities. So yes,
Okay.
CEO and co-founder of Garage Grown Gear.
I was going to say this is maybe your first time co-hosting a podcast, but as we were talking before, like you're now getting kind of famous in the backpacking world for being on Dan Becker's YouTube channel. And when you go on it, it's kind of like a podcast as well. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, definitely. You know, it's a lot of just back and forth chatting. It's like not scripted at all. It's just I think people think that it's way more like coordinated and official than it really is. But I mean, I literally just, drive down to Milwaukee. I get in at like 2:00 in the morning, sleep in my car, wake up the next morning.
Wait, sleep in your car? Wait,
Yeah.
He doesn't have a guest room for you?
I get in too late.
Okay.
And I don't want to bug Dan. He's got kids and he's got his own little thing going on.
In his studio, his YouTube studio, he has sleeping bags. You could literally just like set up shop right there.
His entire basement is dedicated to gear. I mean, he has like probably 20 or 30 packs down. He has more gear than I do.
Okay.
Like, by far. I mean, I think he gets deliveries every day of random samples.
Oh my
Some ones
gosh.
that he asks for, ones that he doesn't.
Right.
But I think everyone just like wants him to look at whatever he's got.
Yeah. Well, hey, I'll tell you what. If you ever are in my neck of the woods, whether we're recording or not, you got a room to stay in. So
That's very kind.
Even if you roll in at 2 a.m., like we'll make it happen. So
Yeah, maybe I need to renegotiate my non-existent contract with Dan.
that's right. And speaking of that, okay, so you correct me if I'm wrong, but is the show that you have going on with him, is it basically just like a show and tell show some of the time where you're just like, check out this gear. What do you think about this? What do you think about this price? Is that kind of what it is?
Pretty much. Yeah, it's just
Okay.
like a hot takes like, does Dan think that this is camp worthy?
Okay.
And then pretty much it's based on like, if Dan thinks the product's good, and then he usually has some infuriating take about the price of ultralight gear these days.
I'm in his boat on that one, I'll be honest.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Sometimes I take the time to be able to describe like how Dyneema as a fabric just costs a lot of money.
Right.
But most of the times I just, just given the fact that he's probably not going to like it and we move on.
Okay. Like, okay, great. You don't like the price. Next item. Speaking of that stuff, so I mean, you have so much stuff on the Garage Grown Gear site at this point. Do you know all the gear? Do you sample, like there's food products? Do you sample this stuff? Are you just kind of like hands-on with everything, I guess is my question.
I am not as much as I used to, but we do, for kind of our new brand process, because we have folks that have a concept for a product, but don't have a brand launched, but just have like a random prototype or something they've sewn or a backpack that they think is cool. And they'll just reach on out and be like, would you be interested in selling this thing? And they send it over our way.
Wait, is there anything weird somebody sent you? Like, they're like, here's half a sleeping bag. If you like it, we'll make the rest of it.
I haven't gotten that yet, but we have gotten some like 3D printed versions of stuff that like ultimately would not be 3D printed. That's like, you kind of have to imagine what this spork would look like. And you're like, okay, well, I think the material choice is fairly important to determine if we're going to like this or not.
I would think it's fun. The part that I wouldn't like would be the rejection part. Like, thanks for sending this to us, but we're not going to proceed kind of thing.
That is part.
To be honest, okay, so I got a follow-up question to that, because the reason why I asked is this actually came up on a recent episode. Is I think it came out maybe like last month. So I purchased something from your site that was, I'm not going to name the brand or the company or whatever, but it was labeled as a cookie. It was just like a healthy cookie. It had, like organic, it had these ingredients in it. And I was like, and I'm always looking for new snacks. And so that's actually one of the reasons why I go on your site, is I'm looking for kind of whatever's coming out new in the snack world. And so I ordered it, and I ate one before I brought it on a backpacking trip, and I was like, whoa, I think I spit it right into the trash. And I was like, okay. And I think not because it's so bad, is because I was expecting a cookie.
Sure.
And so, because it's labeled as a cookie, so I'm like, this should be a cookie. And it wasn't. It was basically like an energy bar, like kind of like that grainy energy bar bite that was just cut into circles. And I was like, okay, so this is false advertising, because they're just trying to make a healthy cookie, and a really good healthy cookie simply doesn't exist.
Yeah, that's accurate.
If you want a good cookie, it's just not going to be healthy, and which is fine. But because they labeled it like that, I had a different expectation. And so had I known it was like an energy bite, I might have had a different reaction to it.
Right. And then you maybe also would not have purchased it because.
Right. Yeah. Maybe not. Depending. So I guess my question is, like, do you ever just tell somebody like, this is fun, like you're mislabeling it, or maybe even just like straight up, hey, this item's just yucky. I don't know.
Yeah.
You ever have that conversation?
I mean, we definitely, yes. So there are some brands where we carry like for most brands, we don't carry everything that they make. And a big reason for that is because we don't think that it fits, or we don't think it's actually that good of a product. You think about a lot of brands in the space, like the chance that all 50 of their products are going to be absolute home runs, or are going to be like, really worth carrying, probably not the case. And especially with food, there are meals that we've taken down, that we've flash sailed out of there, or asked the brand to be able to take on back. That's not usually our favorite, but largely because there's always people who will like stuff, but if 50% of people are not enjoying a meal, it's just not something that's like worth it. Like there's just so many options that are out there. And we definitely, because like brands, like part of it is also like a little bit of a marketing spiel, obviously. Like calling something a cookie is like, they want to call it a cookie instead of like a power cube or like whatever. I have an idea. I think I have an idea of which product you're talking about.
Do you? Okay. Speaking of all these, things that get sent your way, prototypes, whatever. I don't have any prototypes for you, but after we're done chatting with our kind of our main topic for today, I got a couple ideas I'm going to run by you, and you can tell me just the hard and fast truth, like that might work, or that is the worst idea I've heard in a while. So we got like most popular backpacking gear and trends. This is kind of from your perspective, what you're seeing with like sales, or just what you're hearing from the industry. We just want to like tap into your knowledge and experience. And so I'm going to let you share your perspective, and then I'm going to share you what I'm seeing on the trail, and you can tell me if what I'm seeing kind of matches up with what you're seeing. So do you have 3 or 4 of like the top, backpacking gear trends you've seen for 2025? What you got? What's the first one?
I have 3.
Okay.
One is, I think we are currently in the year of the water bottle. After I feel like the Nalgene's, huge deal. Smart water bottles, huge deal. And it felt like, what are the other options? I mean, there are lots of other things that are on the market, but in terms of what is like commonly used on trail, I feel like those really have been the two. And then this year we have the Migo water bottle from Miranda that popped onto the scene, and those have been selling like crazy. The Canuck through bottle, which is like pretty much a direct smart water replacement, is coming onto the market. This company Igneous Gear is just launching a new water bottle. So it feels like the attempt to finally kind of like address the issue of single-use plastics. I mean, I think a lot of people who use smart water bottles have like a small colony of them in their basement that could be like up to 10 years old.
I do.
Me too. And I'm like, I'm never like, I should have recycled these things so long ago. And yeah, speaking of microplastics, you know, and I'm sure reusable water bottles also, if that's a concern of yours, is also any form of plastic. But
Right.
But I feel like, yeah, in particular this year, there have been a bunch of smaller brands that have kind of entered into the space and said, we are going to try to make a real competitive product to move people from smart water bottles to alternatives.
Like the flip side of that is, does that mean, because of the popularity of water bottles, does that mean that people are figuring out that the water reservoir in their pack is more of a hassle than it's worth, and so that's kind of like decreasing in popularity then? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I definitely think so. I mean, I think packs are moving away from any type of hydration flasks or tubes. You know, I think even with the
the tubes
I feel like
issue.
now you're seeing a lot more of tubes that connect directly to your smart water bottle or to your Nalgene, and just kind of like skipping the whole, like a lot of packs that are getting made just don't even have the like the back panel for your bladder.
Oh yeah. So Camelback about to go out of business, you're saying?
Yeah.
Yes, I said it here first.
Okay. All right. That's a good one. I actually noticed that like kind of in a smaller way in that we had Brad, As a Crow Flies Felton come on our show, and he put out just a video on one of his, I don't know, he just got a new water bottle. It's like, check out my new water bottle. And that video took off. And I was like, why did that video take off? But that explains it. Okay, that's number one. Number two, what you got?
I think 3D printing in general kind of as a new horizon for gear. I feel like this is not necessarily purely a phenomenon of this year, but really over like the last 2 years, I think we've seen a lot of motion. And I think it's just like a new area of cottage making. I think like in particular, there's a couple of brands that are doing it really well, particularly this company, Alpine Glow. They made I think it's like a 9-gram pad inflator that is like plugs right into your battery pack and can inflate your sleeping pad. They also just came out with this tiny, I think it's like a 3-gram fuel transfer device that like literally is just a tiny little product that if there's a temperature difference between the two canisters, plop it on and it transfers fuel in between, as opposed to, I mean, the Flip Fuel is a great product, but it's heavy if you're going to be bringing it with you on trail. Whereas, this little guy is mostly made out of 3D printed components and a lot of like 3D printed bidets, 3D printed like caps for steaks to be able to use as like steak pushers.
Oh, that's right. The steak pushers.
Like fuel canister stands. Just like a whole abundance of 3D printed saw handles. Just a lot of stuff that kind of just like opens up a whole new area where small makers, it's not just sewn goods. It can also be a little bit more into the hard goods space. I think that's pretty cool.
Are people really buying steak pushers, like for real?
For real. Yeah.
Okay, wow.
It depends on the, I think like a big general trend in ultralight feels like, there's so many different ways you can do it, and there's no right or wrong way to be able to do this, but like an ultralight tent steak pusher is, a couple of grams of weight. And so it itself is very ultralight, but is it in a ultralight minimalist mentality?
Yeah.
Up for discussion.
Right.
It's either a very, very light luxury item, or it's, you know, a replacement for a rock, which is totally fine.
Hard to find rocks in the wild, so I get it. Maybe you want to protect the integrity of the steak. I don't know. But my whole thing, I don't know why more people don't realize this, but my whole thing is it's not always about the weight. It's about the clutter. So the more junk you're bringing, the more stuff you're sifting through and you're trying to find something. And so the less clutter I have, the less frustrated I am with trying to find whatever it is in my pack. But
Totally. I mean, that's the thing for me is like I like ultralight partially because it's just easier, I think. Like I have to carry less, ideal.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean it's the reduction of decision fatigue of if I have less stuff, I don't have to think about, you know, what I'm going to be wearing. I know what I'm wearing. You know, I don't have to think about what I'm going to eat. I only have a couple of different options. It's there's a simplicity to that does not exist in my day-to-day life that I really like.
Right.
So I think when folks think about ultralight as like it can be whatever you want it to be. If you know, people I think like to be like, oh, this is ridiculous. Like this is such a stupid thing, and being like, well, isn't like every hobby, you know, isn't bringing too much stuff just as stupid as bringing too little? Like, there's no right way to do this. Like, if having a 8-pound base weight is what makes you happy, do it. If having a 40-pound pack makes you happy, doesn't make me happy. But if that is what makes you happy, do it. I don't care. I'm not carrying it.
Fair point. Yeah, fair point. That's okay. So 3D printed stuff was your second thing, and that's interesting. That's one I would not have predicted. I mean, it makes sense, but yeah. All right. What's number 3 on your list?
I think we might finally be coming towards the decline of Polartec Alpha.
Oh.
I think Polartec Alpha is going to be a mainstay in people's kits for years and years and years. But I think it is finally making this transition kind of from a bit of an unknown, unavailable, unattainable fabric to something that has become such a mainstay in the backpacking space that I think people are now starting to be curious about what fabrics are next. And I think that is, you know, if that's, you know, fabrics that have been around for a long time, like with, you know, mesh fabrics like Brynja or Delta fabrics, or even just like moving away from, not entirely, but from more towards kind of sun hoodies or alternative layerings. I think not that Polartec Alpha is going to be great regardless, but I think we have seen like a slight shift towards, okay, not that the market's totally oversaturated, but I think it's pretty close. And I think we're reaching a spot where we're going to start seeing some other fabrics really pop up into prominence.
If you're an ultralight nerd or just a backpack nerd in general, is it fair to say you probably are in tune with fabrics? Just like you probably name 10 different fabrics and their uses. Is that fair?
Yeah, I'd say so.
Okay.
I think at least like, I think Alpha has kind of become like the DCF of, or like the Dyneema of clothing fabrics, where it just kind of is that like uniquely known thing that ultralight kind of, you know, hangs its hat on. Right. And I think the big differentiator, I mean, we're not seeing a ton of, like, no one's going to come out with a tent that just changes fundamentally what a tent is. Same with a pack, like it is a rectangle with straps. So largely like the innovation that's going to happen is going to be happening in like micro evolutions of like, it's going to happen with a slightly tweaked, you know, vest strap, or it's going to be in fabric design. I mean, fabric design is ultimately like what is going to cut the most weight. It is the skin of your pack. You can get rid of everything, but you still need to have something that gives it shape. But I think, you know, we're talking about just incredibly slight variations on that. And I think Alpha is about as light as you can go and still have something that you're wearing. I mean, it's already something that you can kind of see through, especially in certain colors. So
fabric innovations, but also some fabric declines kind of along the same way. That's very interesting. All right. So I had some things in my mind of like some things you might say I was wrong. That's not where I thought you were going to go.
Well, are the things that you thought I was going to say, are those ones that you are going to say as yours?
Well, yeah, sort of. And maybe I'm just behind the times. So for example, bags. I'm seeing just an increase in bag production out there and bag passion, really, what I'm seeing. So people are creating kits. They're getting excited about the bags that they have for these kits. And so, and I'm seeing just yeah, whether it's your food kit or your poop kit or your first aid kit, whatever. It's like they have different bags for different kits, and they're really excited about the bags. And I'm seeing new companies pop up that are excited for their version of the bags. They look different. They're, this and that. And I get that you need to have some containers to carry things. But what I don't understand is people that are just like, I'm so excited about the bag. They just like the bag passion. So I get that they're handy. I'm not saying that they're not. And if you like having kits and different things and you're very organized and neat and whatever, but just the passion for it, yeah. So I thought that was gonna be on the list, I guess.
That definitely could be on the list. Like the desire to remove all of the internal compartments within a pack and then to add in your own, to wrap everything in Dyneema,
right?
So that you can have your poop kit bag that has little poop emojis on it, and your first aid kit bag that has little first aid cross on there.
Correct.
I mean, like, I think Hilltop Packs has done like an incredible job of this, of like,
yep,
you could know what everything is in your pack.
They've cornered the market on the bag printing as far as making it unique.
Yeah, that's so cool. Their custom stuff,
emojis, and all those things. I guess one of mine on my list has to do with that, so I can talk about that one first. And because you mentioned like taking out the internal compartments of packs, and so a trend that I'm seeing is, and this the pack trend has been around for a while, where basically they're trying to lighten the load of the pack weight itself for the pack. So they're paring it down by simply removing all of the external pockets. So you don't have the hip belt pocket, you don't have much going on in the shoulder straps. You might have some mesh on the sides, but that's about it. There's not a whole lot of pockets. And the trend that I'm seeing is, so people are buying these ultralight packs, and their pack itself is very lightweight. And then what they do is then they reinvest in those exact pockets and put them right back on their packs. So you got multiple shoulder straps, you got the ones in the hip belt, you got, I don't know, you just got like pockets everywhere. And I don't know that they, so now they're just basically replacing it, but now at a greater cost, because they're buying the expensive pared down pack.
Yeah, that's pretty accurate. I think the one good thing about that is that it allows you to be able to, depending on kind of like what trip you're going on. If I'm going on like an overnight trip, I probably don't need a lot of those external accessories. But if I'm going on a week-long trip, I can add those things, and it gives me a little bit more volume to be able to hold some of the things that I need. But like, yeah, largely, like, if you're going to buy an ultralight pack, its utility is in the fact that it is ultralight. If you load it up with as much stuff as you would carry in a non-ultralight pack, it's going to carry less comfortably than that other pack.
Right.
It's going to make 20 pounds feel like a lot.
Right.
Whereas if, you have some of those other, if you've got a internal frame and you've got a little bit more substantial hip belt, it'll probably make those larger weights feel more comfortable, just because you're actually going to have the support that you need. So, and I think that's a lot of folks, especially as ultralight is kind of like grown in prominence. People kind of get caught in the allure of ultralight, but they don't actually want to change the behavior.
Right.
So then they're just like, well, I have this ultralight pack. And it's like, well, I don't know, good for you, but you should have actually bought the thing that worked towards the type of backpacking you do. And I think that's why, like, a lot of people like to be able to start with the pack, because it's like the big sexy item that you purchase. But like, your pack should always be your last purchase, because because then you can see if all of your other stuff fits in it. Like, you just don't know what liter pack you're going to be able to need, unless like if you're going to bring a 30-liter pack, but you've got a giant Coleman sleeping bag, you're going to have to spend a bunch of money on a pack where your quilt's not going to fit into it. Yeah, I kind of always advise, like, make sure you got the rest of your kit dialed before you're buying a new pack, because you might just have to end up swapping for something else that doesn't work, or spending a bunch more money.
Yeah, I've done it both ways, and I've heard some people will say, well, okay, well, I'll probably buy whatever, a 70-liter pack, and then realize that that's too big, but I got the space, so I might as well start shoving more stuff in there, and so that's the mistake that they make. But yeah, that's interesting. I guess if you're the way you're describing, if you're dialing in your gear, if you have it dialed in, like, exactly what you need, then you buy the pack. That would make sense.
If it's your first pack, like, you're just making it up as you go. Who knows what you actually want? You're going to get something else different anyway.
Right, that's fair. That's fair. Yes. Okay, so along those lines, in recent years, there's been like the rise of the fanny pack.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, like, if you already have all these external pockets, it feels like overkill. Like, how many things do you really need to grab while you're moving? I get that you want some snacks, maybe you want your phone, maybe you want your water bottle, but I feel like the fanny pack's overkill. I actually went on a trip where a guy had one, and then because it's an extra pack, he actually left it on the trail, and inside that fanny pack was his car keys. So that was really not great.
Rough.
Yeah. So, but then this year when I went out, I've spent a lot of time on the trail this year. I've seen them, but I've seen them far less. And so I'm wondering if there's a decline in fanny pack purchasing.
Yeah, I would say like 3 or 4 years ago was kind of like peak fanny pack time. Every pack maker in the world came out with their own version of a fanny pack. And now I think there are so many fanny pack options on the market. There are, 3 to 4 liter volume fanny packs. There's 1 liter, 0.5 liters. There's like feature rich. There's like it's just a bag that has straps on it. There's shoulder slings. There's everything. And I think, I think,
Okay.
I do backpack with the fanny pack, but I use it as a shoulder sling. So I put it over my shoulder, and then it rests kind of near, like, over my sternum strap, so that I can get at like snacks, headlamp, my phone. So I keep everything kind of like real close to be able to grab. I think like a lot of people, they think they're going to really like having that, but then they actually hike with a fanny pack and they don't like the fact that it's if you put too much stuff in it, it bounces as you walk. It kind of gets in the way. I think people also tend to overload it, because as soon as, I think that's what you were to say, even with a 70-liter pack, is that you have some free space, you end up cramming stuff in it, and then that loses the utility of it having to be actually something that's useful.
Correct.
So yeah, I think it definitely had a real moment, and I think it's scaling back. I think it will always be a part of backpacking, but I think definitely not as hot of an item.
It'll always be part of backpacking. That's interesting. This wasn't actually on my list. It's kind of a bonus one, but you mentioned the bouncing around, the water bottle and the shoulder straps thing. That one I didn't see as much either, and that's because I think people realize that that's a bouncing around thing that just, like, it's handy to have right here, but it's just annoying to actually pack with. So are you seeing fewer of those purchased?
We're still seeing that being pretty steady.
Interesting.
But I think it is like, largely that's designed to some extent out of a failure of packs to be able to have water bottles be easily accessible. So I think it is something that, like, there are a number of packs on the market that you can easily, reach back and grab your water. But I think as vest strap packs become, I think, more and more prevalent, those have a lot of pockets. It puts water very much kind of front and center. I like it because it keeps hydration on my mind. But yeah, it does feel like I don't like having too much stuff in front of me. I want to have like the trail in front of me. That's what I want. I want everything.
No bouncing.
No bouncing. I want my pack to be behind me.
Our last one I got, I'm going to call it like regression in pillows. I feel like there was a trend where people started getting the oversized pillow, maybe the down pillow, the actual stuffing was in the pillow. And Trekology made this really large pillow, which I still use. I really like it a lot. And now I'm seeing people, or I've seen more commonly, people are kind of going back to the ultralight, where I think you even introduced one on Dan Becker's channel where it was like, it just basically looks like an inflatable Ziploc bag, but just like an oversized one. Ultralight. And then some people they're like, I just really don't need a pillow. I'm just going to stuff some clothes into a stuff sack and call it good. And so I call it pillow regression, because I think a pillow is so important to get a good night's sleep out there. And people are like, no, this is going to be an area that I actually shave some weight on. So what do you think?
I'm gonna fight you on that one.
Please do.
I think pillows are okay. So those super lightweight pillows, I think what a lot of people are doing is going from not using pillows to using ultralight pillows, because there is such an abundance of tiny, really light pillows that add like a ton of comfort for not much weight. Like for me, I think the one I use is the Dream Nation pillow from Big Sky. And yeah, it is a plastic bag.
Okay.
But at like an ounce and a half, it is like the weight for comfort thing that gives me like the most feeling of humanity when I'm going to sleep. Where like, I just want to feel comfortable. Like I can beat myself up during the entire day, and I can deal with elements, rain, whatever, bugs. But when I'm in my tent, I just like want to be, a fleece can do the trick. It can. But at like just an ounce or two, A pillow does it. And I think you have so many great options from Xped, from Sea to Summit to Nemo. You know, Zenvity has a really nice light pillow that, yeah, it's basically like an inflatable pool toy. But if you put a fleece over that, it gets even.
Okay, but you're saying what I'm saying. You're saying that people are going ultralight with their pillows, right? That's what they're doing. And what I'm saying is, like, a couple of years ago, people were bringing the heavy pillows. So
that's fair. Yeah.
Are you still seeing that? Are people still investing in the heavier pillows as well?
I don't think so. Okay, so maybe it's just a perspective thing. I think our crowd never used heavy pillows. They just didn't use pillows.
Right.
And now we're seeing them move into pillows. But maybe it's just everyone is regressing to there's lightweight, very quality pillows on the market, and that's pulling non-pillow users into pillows, and it's pulling heavy pillow users into light pillows.
So you're saying in the last few years, people that may be experienced or semi-experienced backpackers, there's still quite a few out there that were not using pillows.
Yes.
That's crazy.
I think it was generally considered to be a luxury item prior to about a year or two ago. And I think a lot of people would still fight you on the fact that it is a luxury item.
That's crazy, man. That's crazy.
But I'm not one of them anymore. And you know, it's just not a, I don't know. I just did the Centennial Trail in South Dakota like a month and a half or so ago. And I had
that's cool.
8-pound base weight with a pillow. You know, I don't like, you can go ultralight and bring a pillow.
Oh, absolutely. For sure. I mean, the inflatable pillow has been around for like 30 plus years. And so that surprises me that people, okay, that's interesting.
I think it's just like a little bit of like the uber masochistic ultralight has kind of faded out.
Yeah.
You know, there's always going to be that extreme of trying to push what ultralight minimalism can be. But it's no longer what ultralight is. Ultralight has definitely become way more of a mainstream term and a mainstream activity. And the people that are doing super ultralight stuff, maybe it's even a larger number of people than it was, but it's a way smaller percentage of the overall market than it used to be.
Interesting. All right. Well, I think we hit on some interesting trends in gear for 2025. And speaking of interesting things, I got a couple suggestions for you. Here we go. All right. So this first one's inspired by one of my co-hosts, Derek. We did a Catalina trip earlier this year, and his strategy for having just like access to snacks was just to pour pretzels into his pocket. So he had pretzel pieces, pretzel dust inside his pocket, and he's just grabbing that gunky stuff out. And you know what he did is he actually saved on the single-use plastic. So kudos to him for that. But then in the end, he's just left with a gunky pocket. So whether it's a gunky pocket, a gunky tent, whatever you want to call it, I would like to propose what I would call like a pocket dustbuster, where it's a mini vacuum. It could be 3D printed, plugged into your external battery, and it just sucks the crumbs out of your pocket, out of your tent, maybe even off your face. And then it's ultralight, and you can just like dump out the crumbs because they're biodegradable. So what do you think about that one?
I love it.
Okay.
I think, I can see a ultralight pad inflator that can also kind of be a fan. Like there's this little ultralight pad inflator from this company called Rex Creations that like it can get some air flowing. And I wonder if there could be a little attachment that could be like a little dust buster for your pocket, because they could be, if you're bear country, that could be dangerous. But I mean, pockets are an unused space for backpackers, and what better than storing some pretzels?
If your next meeting with them, if you have one, and you want to run that idea by them, like feel free. I have no ownership over that idea.
Well, I mean, my Dyson has a whole bunch of different attachments, so why not have a pad inflator that comes with like a little shop vac?
See, I think you took my idea and made it better, because now you're kind of making it multi-use, multifunctional, which is like part of the ultralight system. So, all right, there we go. I'm glad we're collaborating. Another trend I'm seeing on the trail, like this one surprised me, is the increase of use of Crocs on the trail. So, and not just for your like straight up backpacker, but through hikers on the Colorado Trail. I saw so many people through hikers have Crocs strapped to the back of their pack. I saw some people hiking in the Crocs. My favorite one was somebody had gaiters on, hiking with Crocs on. So they're keeping the dirt out of their ankles, but they're just going right through the holes.
That makes no sense.
To this woman's credit, she finished the trail. So whatever system she had going on, she finished. Anyway, So what they don't have, though, is they don't have winterized Crocs. So these are, if you want to hike in Crocs the winter, what you got to do is you got to fill in the holes. And then on the bottom, you got to add like little studs, kind of like those car studs.
Like micro
Yeah, like
spikes.
micro spikes that you have traction on the snow and the ice. So I'm going to call them winterized Crocs. What do you think?
Love it. I mean, I think yeah, I don't understand Crocs for trail. I mean, my background was in paddle sports, so like your feet just get wet and you just deal with it. And like that is just part of the thing. And your feet are wet and then it's, you dry your stuff out and over time that happens. And so like I don't know, I've never really felt this like burning desire to keep my feet dry at all costs, which I feel like for some folks in river crossings that is like the end all be all.
That is true.
Which yeah, so I don't get the Crocs thing. They're also super heavy for something that you really don't like use much. Yeah. Which carry a pair of flip-flops and like, yeah, it's not gonna be perfect if you're crossing some like really raging river, but if it's not gonna work for that, you probably shouldn't be crossing the river at wherever you're crossing it. Yeah, winterized Crocs. I mean, why not? I mean, I would use them to go back and forth between my trash can in my house. Even though they have the fuzzy ones that are like
they do. That's not the same.
Not the same. Different products.
They don't have the grip on the bottom, and the holes are still there, so it can gunk up the fuzz.
That's a good point. Yeah, I think I feel like Croc could make this happen. I mean, they have like platform Crocs. They have like high heel Crocs.
I don't think I knew that.
I think this actually would not be that out of left field to be able to have like a mountaineering Croc.
That name is way better than mine. Mountaineering Croc.
I mean, like, I feel like there could be some good, clever play on like crocodiles being like down under, and you could have like the mountain Croc for like up top
up
or
and
something
over.
up and over. Yeah, there's a marketing campaign here that could be really stupid. That would get some people to buy.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know if you have a relationship with the Croc people, but
I
yeah.
don't. I should. I'll work on it.
All right. Making that some knockoffs, I suppose. All right. Well, thanks for hearing my ideas there.
That's good.
All right. I'm going to put Lloyd through the lightning round. We got that coming up right after this.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. You chose to hit play on this podcast today. Smart choice. Progressive loves to help people make smart choices. That's why they offer a tool called Auto Quote Explorer that allows you to compare your Progressive car insurance quote with rates from other companies. So you save time on the research and can enjoy savings when you choose the best rate for you. Give it a try after this episode at progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Not available in all states or situations. Prices vary based on how you buy.
My dog Max loves chewing on my favorite pair of shoes, almost as much as he loves his Blue Buffalo Life Protection Formula dry dog food. Seriously, he never leaves a crumb. And I love it too, because it's made with high-quality protein, antioxidant-packed fruits, and nutrient-rich veggies. Blue Buffalo foods are made with the superior ingredients your dog needs to thrive. Can your dog food say that? Visit feedbluefood.com to learn more.
Let's say your small business has a problem, like maybe one of your doggy daycare customers had an accident. You might say something like,
"Doggone it!
Hi, Chihuahua!"
Holy schnauzers!
But if you need someone who can actually help, just say,
"Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there."
And get help filing a claim from your local State Farm agent. For your small business insurance needs, like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Did you know that skincare can start in the laundry room? All Free Clear is the #1 laundry detergent brand recommended by dermatologists, allergists, and pediatricians for sensitive skin. All Free Clear is 100% free of dyes and perfumes. It provides an effective clean that's gentle on skin while removing impurities like dirt and body oil without leaving irritating residues. Plus, All Free Clear liquid is Safer Choice certified by the U.S. EPA. For a clean you can feel good about, all you need is All Free Clear.
Lightning round. So you got 1 minute to answer as many questions as you can. The timer starts after I ask the first question. All right. A food you hate to eat.
Eggplant.
Your favorite smell.
Ooh, coffee.
Least favorite camp chore.
Dishes.
A surprise garage-grown gear product that actually sells.
Atotech bear bags. It's our best-selling product in garage grown gear.
A line or favorite part from the Back to the Future series.
Never seen it.
How about Princess Bride?
Haven't seen it.
Let's see. Okay, I'll skip that one. That's crazy. The most plausible conspiracy theory out there.
That birds aren't real.
What? Okay, TV show you've watched recently.
I watched Andor. It was really good.
The best state besides Minnesota.
I feel like I have to say Wisconsin, but I don't really believe that.
Okay. And time. All right. That was right at a minute. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I don't know if I can count the one from the movie stuff.
I'm disappointed in myself.
Yeah. So, okay. So you don't watch like 80s classic movies. Is that your thing?
No, I mean, I was alive for 1 year in the 80s, but it doesn't feel like an identity marker for me. And,
yeah, but people, I mean, kids that like students of mine right now have seen those movies. So it's not when you're born, I guess is my point.
Yeah, that's fair. You know, I've probably seen one of the Back to the Futures at some point.
Okay.
But I couldn't quote it. And
Goonies.
Yeah. I have seen Goonies. Also couldn't quote it.
Okay, can you give me any movie that you like could quote? And I don't mean quote like you know a lot of the quotes, but there's like at least one quote that stands out.
The Breakfast Club is
Okay.
is a real favorite of mine.
Gotcha. All right.
Yeah.
Guess I got to know my audience better. All right.
Hey, that's an 80s movie, right?
That's 80s. Yeah, that counts. That counts. So when I asked you about the plausible conspiracy theories, like right away, you had the birds thing, like right away.
I believe, for the record, I believe that birds are real, but I love the conspiracy that yeah, I mean, I think it's like it's vaguely political, but this idea of like trying to create artificial controversies to make other conspiracies feel more absurd. And yeah, it's just like a group of protesters that would just go around being like, birds aren't real. They're, government drones that watch us. And it was the idea was to poke fun at other conspiracies because they felt as stupid as saying birds aren't real.
Okay, so you feel like it's to kind of poke fun at. It's not a sense of like misdirection where people are like, well, yeah, of course birds are real, and of course there's no aliens or Bigfoot. Like, of course, like
I think it's a little bit of both. It's
All
that idea of like, yeah, bait someone into an argument about birds not being real, and then you can also like bait someone into an argument like as silly as saying that is, it is also as silly to say that the moon landing isn't true.
Right.
It's equally absurd for me to be able to think that I have any perspective on any controversy that is worth knowing. What expertise do I have on that? Why would I know of all the people in the world if the moon landing was real or not?
Well, maybe you've been watching YouTube channels and listening to podcasts. Who knows? That's,
Yeah,
that's why I asked the question. All right. Well, thanks for playing along. Okay, so we got a couple tidbits. First one I got, we have somebody who's checking in from Australia, a guy named Ian. He's got his own YouTube channel, actually. Super fun guy. He was wondering if anybody used baby food instead of freeze-dried meals because baby food is significantly cheaper. Have you heard that as a trend?
No.
Okay.
I have not.
All right. Well, I think, Ian, you're on your own with that one. Okay. Also, let's see. Coming out this week, we've got a new bonus episode on Patreon about the most overrated and underrated gear according to the experts. That's coming out on Thursday on our Patreon. Last thing I got, anything else you want to share about Garage Going Gear, things coming out, just your opportunity to share whatever you want.
If you're ever curious about new stuff that's coming out, we've got a new collection tab on garagegroundgear.com that we update sometimes daily, always weekly. So if you want to know what's kind of new and different in the ultralight space, that's the spot to go.
Okay, and we'll have that linked in our show description. Lloyd, it's been a pleasure and honor to hang out with you, my friend. Thank you so much for taking the time.
Hey, thanks for having me, Carl. See ya.
Have a great week, everybody, and God bless.
When life brings the blah, add more Yabba Dabba Doo with some tasty Fruity Pebbles. Early morning meeting? Blah. Someone brought the pebbles. Yabba Dabba Doo. Run errands?
Blah. Head to the store for Pebbles. Yabba Dabba Do. Fruity Pebbles. Less blah. More Yabba Dabba Do. Pick up Pebbles cereal today. Yabba Dabba Do and the Flintstones and all related characters and elements. Copyright and trademark Hanna-Barbera.
If your small business is booming, you might say,
Cha-ching!
but you should say,
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
and we'll help your growing business. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.